Hello and welcome, everyone. Thank you very much indeed for joining me in this LSE General Course information session. My name is Will Breare-Hall. I'm LSE's Student Recruitment and Study Abroad Manager. And one of my responsibilities at the school is to run our Study Abroad programme, the General Course. So, over the next 45 minutes or so, I'm going to give you a little bit of an introduction to both the school and the programme. I'll tell you a little bit more about who we are, what we offer, what indeed we don't offer at LSE, but perhaps most importantly, what are we looking for in a competitive and hopefully successful applicant to the school? Now, I'm very well aware that virtual sessions like this are rarely stimulating, especially when they're delivered by me. So I will try to be as brief as I reasonably can, whilst still conveying to you all the essential information you need prior to applying. If you'd like to learn more, do please explore our website, and you'll find the web address on each of the slides that you'll be looking at during this presentation. So let's begin with something very basic, very introductory. What is LSE? Well, it is, of course, and I'm sure I don't need to tell you this, the London School of Economics and Political Science. The and political science is very important. We do teach economics. It would be odd if we didn't teach economics, but economics isn't the majority of what we deliver. Economics and economics-related subjects reflect about 30% of LSE's teaching. But 70% of what LSE delivers is essay-based, qualitative social science. Everything that LSE teaches can be considered a social science. We are a dedicated social science institution. So you will not find at LSE any natural science subjects. There's no engineering, no medicine at LSE, purely social science. Having said that, quite a wide range of social science subjects. Now, at the undergraduate level, LSE teaches 40 undergraduate degrees. These are the fields within which we teach at the undergraduate level. And you, coming to LSE as a study abroad student, would be able to access these fields of study. You'll be studying alongside undergraduate students. So these are the subjects that you could study and gain credit for. However, in addition to these subject areas, we also teach a number more, because at the graduate level, we offer about 140 different degrees. Now, sadly, as a general course student, you can't take graduate level courses. You can't gain credit for graduate level study, but you can attend any lecture that is delivered at the school, both undergraduate and graduate. So if you'd like to attend lectures in Europe, human rights, international development, media and communications, entirely up to you. That would be for personal pleasure, but it gives you access to a very, very wide range of different social science subjects. Now, LSE was founded in 1895, so not terribly old, but reasonably well established now. And of course, this academic year is a momentous one for the school because we are marking our 125th birthday. In 1900, we joined the University of London. So we've been a member of the University of London for most of our existence. The Federal University of London is very large, made up of a lot of different institutions. You, as an LSE student, will automatically be both an LSE student and a University of London student. You have that dual status whilst you're studying with us. But to be fair, on a day-to-day basis, you probably won't notice the University of London very much because you're taught at LSE, on our campus, following our curriculum. You're taught by our faculty, based in our academic departments, living probably in LSE accommodation. The University of London really comes into its own in terms of the additional support facilities, the pastoral and social facilities that it provides for you in addition to those that you'll get at LSE. And I will talk a little bit about that later on. So the University of London, very large, LSE last year, 11,373 students, 48% of whom were undergraduates, which of course is the cohort that you will be part of when you hopefully come to study abroad with us, and 54% of our students last year were female. That is not social engineering. That simply reflects the applications we receive. And to be fair, it always bounces around. It's always fairly evenly split, but around the 50% mark. What is less evenly split at LSE are the number of students who come from the UK and the number who come from overseas. 70% of LSE's students come from overseas. They represent over 140 different countries. They speak over 100 different languages. And indeed, around 40% of our staff come from outside the UK as well. So LSE is a truly global, international, cosmopolitan institution. You will definitely not stand out. As an LSE student, you are very much the norm on our campus. LSE indeed has no international office because everything we do has to be necessarily designed for students coming from overseas. And excitingly, you will make friends from every corner of the planet. You will need never buy a holiday ever again. You can go and stay with those friends wherever they are around the world. And one other aspect of the school that's fairly significant in terms of our character, I hope this doesn't come as a terrible shock to anyone, but we are located in London. It's given away to some extent by the name of the institution. We are not just in London, we are in the very heart of the capital. If you have a look at the aerial picture of central London that you're seeing on the screen at the moment, there's a very large red LSE logo there. The buildings underneath that logo, those buildings are the LSE campus. To the right, you can see the River Thames winding away into the distance, and those tall buildings at the top of this picture, those buildings represent the City of London, Europe's financial heart. So LSE, very much smack bang in the middle of the city. Very small and very compact campus. You can walk across LSE's campus from the front to the back of that side in about 90 seconds. If you walk fairly briskly, if you walk a little bit more slowly, maybe 2 minutes to get across that campus. It is small, it is compact, and it grows very organically out of the world around us. We're not gated, we're not fenced, we are very much part of downtown London. If, therefore, you are looking for trees and fields, birds and flowers, if you are seeking dreaming spires, I am afraid LSE is not necessarily the best choice. There are other institutions you may wish to consider. But if you're looking for a more gritty, downtown, urban type of campus, one that's vibrant and lively and cosmopolitan and dynamic, noisy, ugly and dirty, arguably, although much less of the latter, more of the former, LSE is very much that institution. One other thing, just before I leave this slide, do note you won't be housed on that central London site. There is no student accommodation on that central London site. All of our student accommodation is in central London, and it is all within walking distance of the campus, but it isn't on that central site. I will tell you a bit more about accommodation later on in the presentation. The general course, what is the general course? Well, the general course is the name, quite simply, that LSE gave to study abroad back in 1909. The general course was founded in 1909. So it really is almost as old as the school. We pretty much know what we're doing now. LSE only offers year-long study abroad, so the full academic year, no semester study abroad at LSE. There are two very simple reasons for this. One, many of our undergraduate courses are year-long in duration, so you need to be with us the full year, not only to get the full academic content, but also quite simply just to sit the assessments at the end of the year. The other reason, a more philosophical reason, less practical, more philosophical, we believe very strongly that for you to get the most out of a period of study abroad, and not just at LSE, wherever you go to study abroad, we strongly believe that you should go for the full year, because not only is it academically more rewarding, but it is personally, socially more rewarding. You will grow more as a person, you will gain more from it. It's just a richer experience. So we offer only full year study abroad, no semesters. Over 300 students join us on the general course each year, and they are from all over the world. Over 150 institutions send students on the general course. To be fair, many of those institutions are in the US. Most of our students do join us from US institutions, but not exclusively by any means. We accept students from all over the world. And many of the students we take from US universities are actually already international students. They are international students studying abroad in the States, and they come for a further period of study abroad to LSE for 1 year. As I mentioned, you become an undergraduate whilst you're at LSE on the general course. You are fully integrated into undergraduate study at the school. You will sit in the same lectures and the same classes as LSE undergraduates. You'll be based in the same academic departments, living in the same accommodation. You will, I am afraid, sit the same exams as LSE undergraduate students. So, to all intents and purposes, you're just a regular LSE student. The two big differences, of course, are that you leave us after 1 year. You don't stay for the 3 years of an undergraduate degree, and you have access to over 290 different undergraduate courses. That isn't true for degree-seeking students. Anyone on a degree at LSE is usually following quite a prescribed mode of study. You, on the other hand, can mix and match different courses from different departments at different levels. So you could take one from anthropology, one from geography, maybe one from philosophy, one from statistics. It's entirely up to you. The beginner, the intermediate, the advanced level. You have complete choice. All we ask is that you are suitably qualified to take the courses that you're interested in, and, of course, that you will get credit for them from your home institution when you leave it. To support you, we have a dean for the general course, a member of faculty, staff and academic who is employed just to look after you. We provide quite an extensive social calendar for our general course students, and this is subsidised, so you can get up to 50% off a whole host of different activities. If you're interested in standing for elected office, one general course student each year is elected by their peers to become the Students' Union general course representative. That person is the voice of the general course cohort at the highest levels of the school. Internship opportunities are offered through an external company and LSE Careers. And once you've finished the general course, once you've left us, you are, whether you like it or not, an LSE alumnus for the rest of your life. And that gives you a great benefit, 10% off the cost of graduate study at the school in the future. And given how expensive we are, that's not a bad deal. Now, it is beholden upon me to spend a few minutes trying to convince you that you've made the right decision to study abroad at LSE. Now, ordinarily, I would spend these minutes telling you about how we are the world's leading dedicated social science institution. There is quite simply nowhere better in the world you can study the subjects that we teach. You'll be taught by leading academics, very eminent individuals who are at the cutting edge of the social sciences, and they're teaching top students like yourself, the very top students from around the world. Ordinarily, I would tell you about the research, the academic research that our teaching staff undertake and how that directly influences, informs the content of what you learn in the classrooms. We are very much a real-world focused institution. What you're learning on campus at LSE is relevant, pertinent to what's going on in the world beyond our campus, and indeed, of course, therefore, to getting jobs in the future. Ordinarily, I would tell you about our international character as an institution, how this not only helps you socially, as I alluded to earlier, but how it's fundamental to what you learn at the school. And not just what you learn, but you yourself will contribute to the learning experience of your fellow students. Ordinarily, our location in London would deserve a mention, and I would be telling you how, as a social scientist, and of course you will be a social scientist if you come to study at LSE, I would be telling you how London very quickly becomes your social science laboratory on your doorstep, the organisations and institutions that you are studying in the classroom. And I would, of course, have to say something about our global reputation for academic excellence, the very fact that the name LSE on your resume or CV will open doors for you in the future. But this isn't quite an ordinary year, and maybe not for the reasons you were imagining I would say. This, of course, is our 125th birthday year. So, to mark that occasion, a very short video, this is only 3 minutes long, but a very short video has been put together. And I think that this, far more effectively and far more succinctly than I can, explains to you just what makes LSE such a special place. So I'm going to now play this very short video for you.
COVID-19.
Over the next 4 years,
the richest 1% controls more wealth now.
The UK has fallen into its largest recession.
Risk trade deal cannot be agreed with the UK
about the danger of climate change.
Right, well, that's quite enough of that. Let's move on. Let's look at how you'll be studying whilst you're at LSE. Well, as I've already mentioned, full academic year, so all students at LSE join us in September each year, and they leave us around May or June the following year. You will have 2 11-week teaching terms. So when you arrive in September, you'll have 11 weeks of teaching that will take you up to Christmas, and you break then for Christmas. Come back after Christmas for another 11-week teaching term that will take you up to Easter. You'll break for Easter, and then you'll come back for an approximately 7-week summer term, which is given over to exams. So 22 weeks of teaching, split evenly either side of Christmas. You will take 4 full unit courses, or the equivalent in half units. So, as I alluded to earlier, most undergraduate courses at LSE are year-long. They will begin in September. They won't conclude until May or June the following year. We do, however, have some half-unit courses, and in some departments quite a lot. If you look at mathematics, they have quite a lot of half units. So you would take 1 half unit before Christmas, that would finish, and then you'd take another discrete half unit course after Christmas. Together, those 2 half units, of course, equating to a single full unit course. Whatever the mix of courses you take, whether they're full year or half units, the maximum and the minimum workload that any undergraduate student can do at LSE is 4 courses. So that's quite standard for all undergraduates at the school, including general course students. How you're taught is the same irrespective of the length of the courses, a mixture of lectures and classes. Lectures at LSE involve all the students who are taking a particular course. So an introductory lecture, a popular introductory lecture, can be very large. But in a lecture, you simply sit and you take notes. You're not interacting with the faculty. As long as you can hear what they're saying, the size isn't so much of a problem. But classes, on the other hand, are capped at 15 students, 15, deliberately small, because in a class you are required to participate. Each week, a student will lead off with an approximately 10-minute presentation. All the other students will have done background reading and research around the topic, but not the same reading. You all read something different for a class, and then you come to that class and you argue, debate, discuss with each other, disagree with the teacher, but substantiate why you take a particular position on the basis of the reading and the research that you have done. The classes are often your main crucible forum for learning whilst you're at the school. But if you add those together, the classes and the lectures, 1 hour of classes a week, 1 hour of lectures a week, you might have just 8 contact teaching hours each week. That can go up a little bit. It can go up to 15 hours a week, depending on the combination of courses you choose to take. But that's unusual. More commonly, you're looking at just 8 or 10 contact teaching hours a week. Now, if you were only to do 8 or 10 hours of study a week, you would have a fantastic year at LSE. You would have an extremely enjoyable time with us. But I'm afraid you would probably not gain very much credit for your time with us. The end of year assessments may prove a little tricky. So it is very, very important that before you join LSE, think a little bit about how best you study. We expect our students to be very independent and very self-motivated. If you come to LSE, we won't hold your hand, we won't be spoon-feeding you. We are rather hands-off in how we deliver the education. And we're looking, therefore, for students who are passionate, enthusiastic, committed, self-motivated to get up and do that reading, writing, and research on their own without being told to by academics, by the teachers, and by the faculty. Having said that, and it is independent, and I do need to emphasise that, having said that, we don't just leave you to sink or swim, we do look after you. Indeed, many of my colleagues at LSE only have jobs at LSE because at least some of you have problems. If none of you have any problems, my poor colleagues are essentially unemployed. We have to put them out on the street with nothing to do. And that's very sad. So it's important that you are unhappy for at least a short period of time at the school. Share your misery with my colleagues, give them a reason to get up in the morning and come onto campus and help you go off and enjoy the rest of your time with us. We have a centre called LSE Life, as opposed to the far less popular LSE Death. LSE Life is a one-stop shop for all manner of support, from the most basic, taking notes in a lecture, right through to exams and indeed careers at the end of your time with us. Now, you may have noticed that we are in the midst of a pandemic at the moment, so it would be remiss of me not to say something briefly about this. Really, I just want to emphasise that LSE is currently teaching its study abroad students. The general course is operational this year. We have general course students with us at the moment. They are studying in a hybrid model of online lectures, but in-person classes. So they are being taught on campus, in person, in smaller groups, and of course, socially distanced, as you would expect. But if, and let us all hope that this is no longer relevant next September, if we are still in this position next year, you can be very confident that LSE will be well practiced in delivering flexible teaching and learning. There is no reason to think the general course will not be operational next year, just as it is operational this year. A note on our library, and worth mentioning because this isn't just LSE's library, this is the British Library of Political and Economic Science, a huge resource, over 4 million printed volumes. That makes it Europe's largest social science library, but also a national UK and Commonwealth collection of material. look at the picture on the screen here, I'm afraid it does look rather like a prison, unfortunately, in this picture. And I suppose it might feel like a prison sometimes, but it really isn't. It's a lovely place to study. If, however, for some reason you can't find what you want in our library, and let's assume it does exist, if you can't find what you're looking for, remember, you are a University of London student as well. So you have access to our sister college libraries. Go to King's College, University College London, SOAS Queen Mary. You can access their facilities as well. There is absolutely no excuse for not doing your reading whilst you're at LSE. There's an awful lot of material available to you. And very good news on the accommodation front, we guarantee university accommodation to all of our general course students. Now, you don't have to take university accommodation. You are not compelled to live in university housing. If you would prefer a box under a bridge or a sleeping bag in a doorway, that is entirely at your discretion. I don't encourage it. I would suggest that you do look at university housing. And bear in mind what I mentioned earlier. It's not going to be located on our central London campus. All of our accommodation is in central London. So you'll always be able to walk to the school, or indeed get the bus, maybe the tube to campus, but you can always walk to school. But the locations of our residences are all over London, and the type of accommodation we offer, the style, the facilities, that's all different as well. No two halls of residence are the same, and the prices charged reflect this. So it's a really good idea when you've got a moment, if you go onto our website, if you go to the accommodation page on our website, have a look there, because there are virtual tours of each of our halls of residence. And these have all been very cleverly shot to make the rooms look far larger than they actually are, but nevertheless worth having a look at, because it will give you a sense as to what's available, and then you can find something that's right for you, both in terms of the facilities but also the price. As long as you apply by May the 31st in your year of entry, you will, as I say, be guaranteed a place in university housing. And just in case you didn't think it was possible to enjoy yourself whilst you're at LSE, it is. If you try very, very, very hard, you might enjoy your time with us. The principal means of doing so, this is the general course social calendar that I referred to earlier. A whole host of different events and activities, some of them on campus, many of them in London, but others around the UK and on the continent as well. So quite a wide range of different activities, and all of them, as I mentioned, reduced in price, subsidised by the school, just for you, just for our general course study abroad students, so that you can get the very most out of your year with us. In addition to the general course social calendar, you will also have full access to all of LSE's Students' Union clubs and societies. There are over 200 of those. Some of them, as you would expect, quite academic in nature, others more national and cultural, and then on top of that, some slightly more esoteric interests are catered to as well. If you can't find a club or society that reflects your own particular interests, simply set up a new club or society and get other students with the same weird interests as you to join you in that. If you like sports, it's fair to say that LSE's reputation is not based on sporting prowess, but if you do like sports, we own 23 acres of playing fields. You can see our clubhouse on the screen there and some of our playing fields in the foreground. I should be honest with you, not in central London. Those 23 acres are not in central London. If we owned 23 acres of central London, we would be staggeringly and delightfully rich, but I'm afraid we are not. So you must get a bus or a train to reach our playing fields in South London. Wednesday afternoons are traditionally given over to social activities, and weekends as well, of course, so plenty of opportunity to get involved. And the University of London's Student Central, the head office of the University of London, just a few minutes walk up the road from LSE. You have access to that and their big swimming pool, which we don't have, a bigger gym, different clubs and societies, a whole host of different activities. So really, almost every interest you can think of is catered for somewhere in the University of London. You will get 4 weeks of holiday at Christmas. You will get 4 weeks of holiday at Easter. So built into your academic year with us, you will have 8 weeks of vacation, and you are not required on campus during those 8 weeks. So you can do whatever you wish. At Christmas, many students go home to see friends and family, but at Easter, a very large number of students take advantage of that break to travel, to go off into Europe, to tour around capital cities, a potentially unique opportunity to do this affordably. It really is one of the very best advantages, one of the greatest advantages of studying abroad for the year. You might not have this opportunity again, so do take advantage of that. And something for your parents, do reassure your parents, there is a medical centre at LSE. Now, we hope you don't fall ill, heaven forbid that you do. But if you do fall ill, doctors and nurses on campus will look after you. The British taxpayer will care for you free of charge through the terrible National Health Service. So you need not suffer in silence. Okay, so that, in a very, very small nutshell, was an introduction to LSE and what we can offer you. Let's now move on to look at what you need to offer us. So, general course admissions and our entry requirements. Let's begin with that. In terms of a GPA, if you would like to join LSE to take mainly essay-based subjects, qualitative subjects, we're looking for 3.3 out of 4, or the equivalent, after 3 semesters of university study. If, on the other hand, you would like to take predominantly numerical, quantitative subjects at LSE, finance, maths, stats, economics, we're looking for 3.5 out of 4, or the equivalent, after 3 semesters of university study. If your institution doesn't use a GPA system, don't worry, that's absolutely fine. We accept a whole host of different curriculums. And if you have a look on the general course web pages, you'll find all of our entry requirements are detailed there for different countries and different systems. You will need to have completed 2 years of university level study before you join us. So you need 2 years university level study behind you, and you should have been studying at least in the semester immediately prior to joining the school. We require 2 academic references alongside your transcripts. These must be academic. We won't accept personal or professional references, only academic. But who those references come from, in terms of which of your teachers, is entirely up to you. The status of the individual doesn't matter. Don't worry about their title. They simply need to be teaching you and to have a good understanding of your academic ability. We do like references from teachers who are teaching you in subjects relevant to what you would like to study at LSE, but that isn't required. The only academic references we really don't like are those from language teachers. They tend not to be quite so helpful from our perspective, but any other academic reference is fine. Sensible course choices is an important part of the application process. On the application form, we ask you to provide us with 6 indicative course choices. Now, you won't be held to these course choices. There's an add-drop period at the start of the academic year, and you'll have 2 or 3 weeks to completely change your courses if you so wish. But when you apply, we like to see that you've given some thought and consideration to what we offer and how it suits you, how you fit with it, and how it will benefit your university study at your home institution. Remember what I said earlier, you can pick courses from anywhere across the school at the beginner, the intermediate, and the advanced level. This is quite important because LSE is a 3-year teaching institution. So at LSE, 100 level introductory courses are the same as freshman and sophomore year courses at many US institutions. 200 level courses at LSE are the same as junior year courses at most US universities. That makes them perfect. They are ideal for general course students. At LSE, our 300 level courses are the same as senior year and indeed graduate level courses at many US institutions. So those 300 level courses should be considered carefully. I would exercise caution before choosing more than one 300 level course. A good mix would be 1 300 level course and 3 200 level courses. That would be challenging, but not overwhelming. So do look carefully at the content of the courses we offer. The titles can be misleading. Sometimes they sound like what you might be used to at your home institution, but actually they are very different to what you might have been studying before. And do bear in mind that economics at LSE, if you're interested in studying economics courses with us, economics at LSE is extremely quantitative. It is a very maths-based set of courses. So you need to have a very strong background, very strong quantitative background before you take advanced economics courses at the school. You'll need to provide us with a statement of academic purpose, a maximum of 900 words for this, and you'll be asked to answer 3 questions. You'll be asked to tell us a bit about your academic journey so far. You'll be asked to tell us why you've chosen to apply to the general course and what you hope to gain from it. And you'll also be asked to tell us what you're interested in studying at LSE. Which courses have you picked and why? Why would you like to study those? 300 words for each of those 3 questions. And then you can apply from the 1st of January next year. Now, bear in mind that many of your home institutions will have their own internal processes that you need to adhere to. So please comply with any requirements that your home institution makes of you. You may have to go through an internal vetting process before you can apply to LSE. But from our perspective, you can apply from the 1st of January online. It's a free application, and we will send you a decision within 7 working days of having downloaded your completed application. So you'll get a decision from us very swiftly indeed, before you have a chance to change your mind. Now, the cost of studying at LSE in 2021-22 is £22,200, all the twos. Please check with your home institution whether you continue to pay their tuition or whether you pay our tuition directly. It does vary by institution. Living in London will cost you, we estimate, around £1,300 per month, not per year, I'm afraid, per month. It is possible, if you try hard, it is possible to live on more than that each month. If you go out clubbing every night, if you jet off to Cannes, Nice and Rome every weekend, you will quickly spend more. But budget reasonably carefully, and that will cover everything: housing, food, books, clothing, entertainment, travel, everything. The visa that you need to enter the country will allow you to work up to 20 hours a week on or off campus during term time, and a full working week in the vacations. So you can certainly earn a little bit of spending money, pocket money, whilst you're with us. And LSE Careers can help you in finding those part-time, term-time jobs. In addition to that, LSE Careers can also help you in obtaining an internship at the end of your year on the general course. And we run a host of different general course specific events. These are designed just for general course students to help you network with former general course students and find out more about how the general course will help you in terms of getting a job in the future. Financial aid is available. Every student who's offered a place on the general course will then be invited to apply for a John C. Phelan General Course Scholarship. It's a separate application, but need-based, not merit-based. So we'll consider you on the basis of your personal and family finances, and if we can make an award to allow you to join us in London, we shall do so. And one lucky recipient of the John C. Phelan scholarships will also be selected to receive free housing for the whole year, free housing from International Students' House. That's selected, again, on the basis of financial need. Other scholarships are available. If, for instance, you're in North America, BUTEX scholarships are available to you. But speak to your home institution. The staff there in the Study Abroad office or the International Programs office are sure to be able to point you towards any financial aid for which you might be eligible. And it's never a bad thing to apply for financial aid. The more, the better. One final note, I alluded earlier to the fact that you will become an alumnus of LSE when you complete the general course. That's absolutely true. You'll be a regular LSE alum, just like any other student who graduates from the school. And that means that you're going to join a very eminent and esteemed band of individuals doing great works around the world. Not only will you get 10% off future graduate study at the school, but you can use our alumni centre on campus whenever you're in London in the future. You'll have an LSE email address for the rest of your life. You can access LSE Careers and our library after you have left the school. And we will bug you incessantly with telephone calls asking for cash until you give us enough to name something after you're on campus. But more importantly, if that's possible. More importantly than all of that, your year at LSE really will fly by. A year of study abroad, I'm very well aware, can seem like a daunting prospect, but believe me, it goes by in the blink of an eye. It is, however, a lifelong connection that you establish with the school. That year at LSE is then a lifelong link with the institution. And because it is a lifelong link, it really is a lifelong benefit. Your year at LSE will go on working for you for many, many, many years to come. Now, for further information, do please look at our website, the General Course website, particularly the content of the courses that we have available to you. You may be interested in our Choosing Economics Courses guide, which tells you a bit more about what we're looking for if you want to take those particular courses. And you'll also find a PDF of the latest edition of the General Course brochure. If you'd like to contact us after today, please make full use of our live chat facility. That operates every Monday to Friday whilst the school is open in term time and holidays when the school is still open. Live chat Monday to Friday. You can chat with us in real time. But if that isn't convenient for you, feel free to email us gc@lse.ac.uk. You can email us there and we'll respond as swiftly as we can. All that remains for me to say now then is, well, thank you firstly for joining me today in this presentation. If you're studying, keep studying hard. Make sure you keep getting good grades. Stay safe and well, of course. Do please stay safe and well. And I look forward to welcoming you in person to LSE at some point in the very near future. But for now, thank you very much again for joining me. Good luck and see you soon. Bye-bye.